Sarah Boone is carrying around a lot of extra baggage. All that and what it means for your weekend tonight on the Comm Center.
Tonight, it's the Comm Center with Drew Parisi with veteran detective Andrew Baxter. He's in charge of the Comm Center. I'm John. I'm an active 911 dispatcher in the field.
Some of you don't know, or you may know from the last week's show, for about 10 years of my career, probably the last 10 years of my career, I taught interviews and interrogations to young budding detectives, officers who have been out in the street for a while, young supervisors. I taught a week-long course of interviews and interrogations. A quick refresher of the 911 call in our take. Here's John's analysis.
911, what is the location of your emergency? 4748 France Court, apartment 3.
4748, what's the street name?
France, F-R-A-N-T-Z.
And the apartment number?
3.
Is this a police or medical?
My boyfriend is dead.
Okay, send the line for the fire department. Do not hang up.
Very to the point.
Fire risk. That's the location, Mercy.
Desk 32.
No, please don't leave.
4748 France Lane, apartment 3.
France Court.
France Court.
Yes.
Okay, just near.
Just a quick observation, John. Doesn't she seem to be a little bit with it to have just trying to revive a dead person?
Well, do we want to use a little retrospect? She is like this all the time. This is default her. This isn't actually her, what she sounds like when she's just discovered a dead person. You're going to find when patrol gets there and interviews her multiple times and detectives get there when she's finally in the interrogation room that she's always kind of high strung like this. But from the way that she sounds like, she possibly just found a body, but as we're about to find out, that is not the position that we're in at all.
Don't be alarmed when she yells, "Don't go anywhere." She's not speaking to the corpse.
Yeah, I think she's talking to her ex-husband, which is weird.
I don't know where that is.
Okay, fine, okay.
It's Tealwood Park Apartments.
Okay, 4748 France, correct?
Correct.
All right, correct. Now tell me exactly what happened there.
My boyfriend and I were playing last night, and I put him in his case and we were playing. And like kind of hide and seek kind of thing. So I fell asleep and I woke up and he was dead in the suitcase. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
Right, okay, what's the apartment number?
3.
I don't know.
Apartment 3?
Yes, like he has like blood coming out of his mouth, and I don't know if like he had like an aneurysm or like what happened.
Right, okay, all right, okay. Listen, we're getting help out there too. All right, okay. Okay,
now?
Okay, listen, we're on our way out there. You're at 407-716-8684. Okay, is he hanging from somewhere or what, ma'am?
No.
We have to drop that joke you said again last week. He could be in a garment bag. That's why he's hanging up. Drew, I didn't even get that last week until I was editing later. They're confirming the address. We mentioned it last week. There was a handoff between the initial call taker and now the fire dispatcher. The dispatcher for the police department is still on the line. She's still listening. You'll hear her in a second, where the fire department dispatcher wants to make sure she's still there because all of the details that she's giving to fire, the police are going to want to know too about his condition inside the suitcase. This dispatcher is handling already the weirdest call of his life. It's weirder than the F-35 thing. My boyfriend and I were playing hide and go seek, and of all places, he hid inside his suitcase, and I went to bed and left him in there. But he had an aneurysm that killed him. It was definitely some kind of medical condition. It wasn't just asphyxia or being crushed inside a suitcase. Drew.
Abby has a great question. So why was why was she transferred to fire so quickly, or why was she transferred to fire? This happens quite often. This happened in the center that I worked in. You have, as a dispatch, this is why I thought it was so important that we talked about the Seattle program with the dual dispatch and all that. You have about 5 or 10 seconds to determine if you need to get medical rolling and not. And there is a teeter-totter. There's like a fulcrum where you have to decide, look, do I just stay on the line with this person and get them to talk as much as possible? about the criminal side of this, or do I, at what point do I just, there's no app that goes off that tells you, hey, you better get fire rolling that way anyway. So once you hand it off to fire, they're going to take over because they're going to start doing all their medical protocols and all that other stuff. She opted to do it pretty quickly. It sounded like a weird call that maybe, they could save a life. So she handed it off to fire pretty quickly, and she's still gathering information. She didn't hang up, which is a good thing. Sometimes in that handoff, the dispatchers hang up. Okay, go ahead, John.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the life-saving efforts are going to be number one. You're trying to prevent a murder. If you can save the guy's life, then what's happening here isn't a murder.
I pulled him out of the suitcase. I tried giving him CPR.
Okay, so he was in a suitcase?
Yes, and I fell asleep.
Okay, how old is the boyfriend, ma'am? 42-year-old male. All right. Okay, we're sending help out there. Sheriff's officer anywhere out there?
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry?
See, he just said, sheriff's officer, he's still on the line because he knows this is going to most likely turn into a criminal case. But he says, he kind of says, all right. He's pulling up information he needs, guidelines to help give these CPR directions. He's going to do the best he can to get her to cooperate. CPR is a difficult procedure, even if you're a trained rescuer. Telling someone how to do it over the phone is difficult. And all too many times in a dispatcher's experience, you're going to be giving CPR advice to someone who is clearly faking it because you know what it sounds like when someone's actually trying, or they're completely unwilling to do it. But I'll go on, Drew.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Listen to me. Okay. I just need to confirm this one. All right. I understand. I just need to confirm this. Is he awake at all? Is he conscious at all?
No. He's purple.
Is he breathing?
No.
All right. I need you to get him on the floor, flat on his back for me, okay?
I did. I tried giving him CPR.
All right.
I tried giving him CPR.
Yeah, okay.
But nothing happened. He's purple.
Okay, listen to me. There's a defibrillator available. I need you to get it for me, okay?
What is it?
You have an AED available?
No.
All right. Are you right by him now?
I'm sorry?
Are you right by him now?
Yes.
Okay. Lay him flat on his... Okay, ma'am, listen. So listen, is he cold and stiff?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he's not necessarily cold, but he's stiff.
He's room temperature. And we also discussed this last week. He's kind of going to checklist mode. He wants to protect himself and his agency from any kind of individual liability or vicarious liability by not providing this life-saving instructions. He has a duty to care. Of course, we all know, those of us in the field anyway, know the signs of death. He's apneic, he's not breathing, he's cyanotic, he's got blood coming out of various holes in his head. Usually when people die, blood just sort of starts coming out. Being in a suitcase 12 hours, you could usually, there's guidelines for when you could say that a call is somebody's already dead, like a paramedic or an EMT or a doctor will say that, when death is a predictable outcome, or there's absolutely no signs of life. Like I said, there's no breathing, there's cyanosis or whatever. He's checking all of these boxes, but the dispatcher, for want of anything else to say, Drew, do you think you should switch over to investigative mode and say, now let me get this straight. You guys were playing hide and seek and you zipped him up in the suitcase? Should he switch to investigative mode?
No, because people, like we've discussed in the past, people tend to exaggerate too. So if she's describing Grimace from the McDonald's character Grimace. He might just have a little blue tinge to him, you know what I mean? Like, she doesn't know.
He might just be blue, yeah.
Nobody knows at what she might be colorblind, for God's sake, but nobody knows at what stage she pulled this guy out of the suitcase. He might have been in there for 30 seconds. So he's just going to go through everything he needs to go through. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious, but I think this is a damned if you do and damned if you don't. But yeah, let's just keep it moving here.
One last thing, Drew, if I may. This is something I thought of because you know how it is. You do a show and then you think about it at 3 a.m. and you're like, I wish I had done that better. If this guy's been in a suitcase for 12 hours and let's place his time of death, at 12 hours, and he's folded up, his body is folded up inside his suitcase. I don't know if it's just because I'm 6.5 feet tall, but I can't even imagine this, like how that would work. But I imagine his knees are probably curled up in front of his chest. If he's in full rigor, how the hell are you even doing chest compressions if he's stiff and his knees are up like this? Like, you'd have to crack him in half in order to do the compressions, right?
Yeah, I would think he would be like a frog at this point. Yeah.
Okay.
That would be my guess. I mean, I don't think it'd be full rigor, but I mean, like, it would definitely have set in. There'd be lividity on like the front of his shins, and depending on which side.
Yeah, we don't know the orientation. I thought the suitcase was laying on the side.
Yeah.
So yeah, the blood would be all pooled on one side of his body, which would be something you again, if you're pulling him out to do CPR, you're gonna see that lividity. So, but I don't know if she would recognize that or not. But the dispatcher, of course, has to keep going. So go on, Drew.
10, 11, 12, 13.
I pointed out, I think last week or recently, that you're supposed to do it to the tune of Staying Alive because that's the tempo. And someone corrected me and said that it's also the tempo for Another One Bites the Dust. So hopefully your patient's not listening.
And 14, Crazy in Love by 15, Beyonce.
16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Please hurry.
Right, okay.
Horrible. This is horrific. What happened?
You locked him in a suitcase.
Like, what happened?
Okay, man, just keep on pumping his chest for me, okay? They're in the parking lot. They should be up there shortly, okay?
Yes. I'm still doing it, okay?
All right, okay, good.
Fucking liar. You're not doing
you
shit.
found him in a suitcase, you said?
Yes. We were playing hide and seek last night. I fell asleep.
Here's the cool part. They stay on the phone. They don't hang up.
We were playing hide and seek. He hit the suitcase. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, he's been down too long. There's nothing we can do for him.
Hello, ma'am.
So we're there, obviously.
All right. Yeah, no, he's my boyfriend. Is your boyfriend? Okay. Does he have any kind of metaphors? No. No, not that I know of.
Call should be over. Still going. Just because they want to know what the fuck is going on there.
Hey, ma'am, the fire department's going to take care of you now, okay? Yeah, so we'll see you there.
All righty. Hello, ma'am, is still there? Hello?
All right. So, they were listening there just because they wanted to know what was going on.
You live here? Yeah. Okay, I'll talk to you.
All right, I'm going to pause it because I got I included the I edited down the.
If you have yours, I'll just take mine off the screen, Drew.
Yeah, go for it. So John brings a good point. Like a lot of times, the dispatchers will hang up, and we won't get a free shot at what's going on in there. So sometimes dispatchers will leave the phone open, and because people just drop the phone, and they'll pick up critical evidence all the time on these 911 calls. This is a great point. Like, it's not necessarily that they're trying to rush off the phone. It's not necessarily cheating, because if there's nothing nefarious going on, there's nothing to worry about. But when people drop the phone, they're just going to leave it running. And I'll tell you, one time I was working a wiretap investigation, and the guy thought that he had hung his phone up. We were already listening. It didn't matter. He did some, he was talking to his girlfriend for a little bit. Then he did some dirty work, like some drug business on the other line. Then he calls this other girl, and long story short, he left the phone off the on, and his girlfriend could hear his conversation that we were hearing, and he was talking about the other girl. And so we had to prevent a shooting. We had to, it almost compromised the investigation because we had to kind of intervene to protect that guy. So anyway, people often leave that phone on the ground, and you can listen. It's fair game. It's going to become evidence. It's not like there's an expectation of privacy because you called 911. And if there is, a defense attorney is going to argue it. It's not going to be anything that's out of line.
Yeah, but what about Drew? What about a clear statement against interest? Set on a recorded 911 line. They don't. I mean, would they be able to make a good case for throwing that out?
Well, did they call 911?
Yeah, they did. In this case, she did.
Yeah, that's my point. Like, she called 911. She initiated the conversation. Even if she called 911 and hung up, and they called back, they had a reason to call back. It's not like they randomly called her. And if she leaves the phone off the hook, she leaves the phone off the hook. It's just a free shot. There's no there's nothing like there's no violation of a statute, or there's no constitutional violation in listening to what the normal ear can hear if you were standing there, right?
Exactly.
So if you were just standing outside the door and you overheard it, it would be the same thing.
I just think it's super important to maybe approach the rest of this case with that in mind, that the things that you hear and the things you get told, talking about admissibility, that's a huge part of interviews and interrogations. And it's always a legal minefield whenever you do that. And I'm sure Drew's going to mention that stuff, but that's how it works for 911.
He and I were putting a puzzle together. We've been doing some artwork together.
You are putting a puzzle together?
Yes, we have a puzzle that we started in there.
Okay.
We've been doing art, trying to take the stuff off the wall to make new art put up there, like having a good time with one another. But we're drinking. We had a bottle of wine last night.
Okay.
So then it's like we decided to play hide and seek, right?
Okay.
So he gets in the suitcase. Okay.
Who is this guy?
That's my ex-husband, my former husband.
How did he live here with you guys?
No, I called him over here.
Okay. Okay.
I didn't know what to do.
Okay.
I didn't know what to do.
Okay.
So then he came over here.
Here, let's talk in private, okay?
I called you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I tried giving him CPR. The problem is I fell asleep. I fell asleep.
When did you do CPR?
This morning, when I found him.
Before you called?
Yes!
1 o'clock right now.
I tried. I was awake, but I actually got out of the bed at like.
All right, so right off the bat, like what I'm looking at, and I don't know if the detectives did this before they sat her down, but I'm looking at the fact that her hand gestures don't necessarily match her responses. And it's nuanced. Like that doesn't necessarily mean she's lying. It just means she's in distress and for some reason. But when you take it in totality of what she's saying, it may be an indicator that she's not being totally forthcoming. But just her reactions, like yes, like her body is going crazy right now on the inside. Her brain, it's freaking out. It's not only freaking out from finding the dead body, it's freaking out from trying to figure out how she's going to get out of this shit.
12:30ish, whatever. So I came downstairs and I was like, oh, he's in the suitcase still. And that's when I found him and I took him out. I tried doing CPR and then I called him and then I called you guys.
Did he get here before the fire department got here?
Who?
Your husband or
Yes.
your ex-husband?
Yes.
Okay.
Right down the street.
Okay.
In sequence.
So you were playing and who zipped him up in?
I did, but then I fell asleep.
Okay. You're okay. I wasn't here. I'm just trying to figure out what
I
happened.
fell asleep, so I don't know if he suffocated or like had an aneurysm or a heart attack or
What
what.
kind of medical conditions does he have?
This is an important question, and it's an even more important answer, and I'll tell you why.
None that I know of.
Nothing that you know of.
None
You
that
didn't
I
take
know
any
of.
medicine?
No.
She does this constantly. You'll see in the interrogation she does this also. She brings up a point, and then when you hit her with, okay, well now we're getting somewhere because you might have an explanation here, she knocks down your explanation totally, because she says, I don't know if he suffocated, if he had an aneurysm, if he had a heart attack. And she goes, well, does he have any medical conditions? Because the normal person would probably say, well, yes, he has a bad heart, or you know what I mean? Like you might try to cover yourself that way or whatever. And she's like, no. Does he take any medications? No, not that I know of. Like, so why bring that up? Why even bring up the suffocation, the aneurysm, the suffocation's obvious, but why bring up the heart attack? Why bring up the aneurysm? He's a young man. He's, in his 40s and whatever. John?
The other thing that bugs me is that she keeps reacting as though she just found him. She keeps gasping and keeps reacting all anew. It's like she's not sure what to do in this situation, so she thinks she has to be in a state of constant, being struck by this. Like a normal person they have their initial reaction and then they have kind of a recoil phase, where they it's not that they can't get upset again, but it's like every time someone.
All we had was a bottle of wine, literally just a bottle of wine.
Okay.
Doing puzzle artwork. Then we decided to play hide and seek. Mm-hmm. That's all that happened.
Okay.
So I don't know if he had a heart attack or what in there.
All right. See, that's something I didn't pick up before. And now I'm picking up now. She's like, all we did was we did some puzzles, we painted, we had a bottle of wine, and then nothing happened. Or we played hide and seek and nothing happened. So that's an innocuous statement to the officer that's standing there interviewing her. It comes into play later in the interrogation, it just hit me like a ton of bricks right now. And I'll talk about it later. Remind me.
Saying nothing happened is just such an obvious, like, and I'm skipping something. I'm skipping something, and then this happened.
Nothing happened, which means something happened.
Like, I don't know what happened.
So how long were you doing CPR?
I mean, I know that I was in bed probably by like, what, 12:30?
Okay.
Well, I went upstairs at least, and I fell asleep.
Okay.
Forgetting that he was in
you
the
guys
suitcase.
were playing the hide and go seek.
Yes.
And at some point you put him in the suitcase?
No, he got in the suitcase. So he thought it would be funny to be put in the suitcase. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to joke with you and I'll zip you up and make him, you know, squirm a little bit, whatever it is. But then I fell asleep. I fell asleep.
Where was the suitcase?
No, it was the afternoon. It was afternoon.
Is it hide and seek or hide and go seek? Or go hide and seek?
I always said, well, when I was a kid, I said hide and go seek. And now I say, now obviously as an adult, whenever I play, it's hide and seek.
It's the contracted version?
Yeah, I don't have time.
I was awake, but then I finally decided to come downstairs at like 12:30-ish, whatever it is. And I was like, I forgot he was in the suitcase and he wasn't moving. Nothing was happening. So I unzipped him, took him out and started doing CPR on him. I don't, like, this was totally, like, not intentional. Like,
okay, this is our first conversation with the two detectives.
that's what I'm scared about too. Like
we'll have all the answers. We'll have a lot more answers tomorrow after medical examiner looks at them. Like you said, what you're seeing here is common. This is us coming out
protocol.
To the scene. Yeah,
they're just explaining to her, like, because she's already getting alarmed at the amount of officers present and the detectives walking in and out. And, like, you know, if you find your fiance in a suitcase the following morning after a vicious game of hide and seek or hide and go seek, what are you worried about? Like, what do you care if there's 1,000 stretchers and 2 ambulances and a fire truck and, you know, whatever, Chief Keefe on the scene? Like, who cares? She cares because she's nervous about what's going on. So she's even saying, I'm scared. I don't know what to do.
we'll give them their number. They can contact them, get it from them.
But yeah, they're gonna know what we're here.
She's very concerned about what his parents are going to know and what they're going to think.
Yeah, well, of course, they're going to find out their son died in a suitcase. Drew, you've done death notifications, right? They're not easy. You're just like, I'm sorry, your son was in a car accident, he didn't make it, or your son was in a machete fight and he didn't make it. Can you imagine? I'm sorry, your son didn't make it. You're like, my God, what happened? Was there a fire? And you're like, no, I got zipped in a suitcase during a hide and seek game, ma'am. Anyway, I'm gonna blast off out of here. Like, you know, how the hell do you handle that?
We'll call you after the medical examiner, and also, like, I can't even say, look. You know, I'd like to just tell you that they were trying to make him a stowaway and they were going to fly to Puerto Rico. Or,
that would have been a better story.
I want to give you a reason why, but no, they were playing hide and seek.
This would have been a better story. Just say you had to catch the red eye and you overslept and so to save time, you packed him the night before. That's such a better story than hide and go seek.
That
they're going to think I killed him.
Why would they think that?
They always have said that. They've always have said that.
All right. So that's an important statement. That's a spontaneous admission that she's making, a spontaneous statement that she's making to these detectives. She says, they're going to think I killed him. First of all, she's wringing her hands like she's washing them with pumice. She's like, they're going to think and then the detective's natural question would be, why would they think that?
Why would anyone think that?
And she says, because they always say that. So that should send the hair on the back of your neck up a little bit.
The last time I stabbed him, they said the same thing.
I'm the blue-eyed white dragon. That's what they
She's the blue-eyed white dragon, if you can't hear that.
call me. Because they don't want him with me. So he's basically just not really been around his family because he chooses me over them. Even after I've encouraged him numerous times to go over there and see his family.
I promise we're not going to leave here for you and you not feel safe. Okay? I promise.
Please. Okay. I don't even know what to tell you.
It's okay. Just take a seat, have some water, give us a few minutes. to you, I promise, okay?
Yeah, I had to cut a lot of it out because there was a lot of wind blowing, and this was the officer's body cam. So it was a February day in Winter Park, so it was probably just slightly chilly, and there was some wind blowing. You couldn't hear a lot of the stuff on there. It's Drew Breezy here. I hope you enjoyed episode 2. We recapped the 911 call. Jonathan gave a little bit of an additional analysis, and then we covered the body cam when the initial officer responded and when the detectives first showed up. Stay tuned for episode 3. We're going to cover in depth the interrogation of Sarah Boone and find out if she won her game of hide and seek. Thanks for listening.